First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the invitation. To my right is Sonja Ricks, Head of Retirement, HR, RET, and to her right is Ed Capers. He's the Deputy Director of Retirement. So I've had the privilege of speaking here for 8 years, or 5 times, the last things. I will have confirmed my intelligence for all of you by, after 15 years working in Charleston, South Carolina, on Sunday, I moved to Washington, D.C. That #1 hardship post in the Foreign Service, as you all know. I've served up here before, but I'm looking forward to it. So I don't know, I may just have to come as a visitor the next time in 2 years. But it's been one of the privileges of my job to come here and speak. I don't know what you're getting for a COLA, I'll tell you that. Although everything I see is in the 2s. That's what we see and stuff, but I only see what you see in the news. Usually if I have a room of employees, I'll ask folks to raise their hand and then put it down if they don't think that payroll is the most important thing. If you don't pay people, they don't show up. One of the privileges, again, though, of the job is paying our retirees. And just these are numbers of folks that we pay. The last one notes that, and it's been fairly static, hovers right below 16,000. We pay about 16,000 retirees, former spouses, dependent children, through the Foreign Service Retirement Disability Fund. There aren't a lot of folks left in the service who are on the old system.
106.
Yeah, most are on the new system, the Foreign Service Pension System.
106.
106. And so, but the fund does cover both. It's a very healthy fund. It has about $19 billion in assets. We have an auditor, actuarials actually. Actuarials are people that accountants look up to. They do projections and they've deemed the fund very healthy. We've put in a new system. We've been paying folks who've been on an annuity for the past 8 years almost with a new PeopleSoft system. We pay our local staff. I will say, just as informational for folks, for the first time in my tenure in the 8+ years, the number of LE staff went down. First time, and it was entirely due to the freeze that started to have an effect that was also implemented overseas. And so while we actually tripped above about 64,000 LE staff about 2 years ago, we're back down into the 62s. Now, the freeze is off, mostly, but it will take a little bit of time. But literally in the 8+ years, the number of LE staff grew from 54 to 64,000. The U.S. government is putting people overseas. It's not just state, but the infrastructure to put people overseas is still out there. We are going to send out a survey, the annuitant side of the house, the retirement side of the house, we'll discuss later, but the annuitant side of the house, we're going to send out a survey and solicit feedback. We do that via email to keep costs down, as we are seeing an increase in the number of retirees who we have email addresses on. When I started, we had email addresses on about 20%, and we're up over 50%. We collect them at retirement now, and we're finding it's just becoming more ingrained. But we'll use email, so if you wish to participate, you can send in to, I'll show you a little bit later where you can send your email address in. Are you folks familiar with the Foreign Service Family Member Reserve Corps? So this is the old it's an eligible family member employment, and some of the issues that had existed in the past were an individual keeping their clearance when they left one job and went to another job. And so it was an initiative of former Undersecretary Kennedy and implemented in. We now have thousands of folks on the books in appointments, and it's fundamentally run the same way as it relates to eligible family member employment, but you get into an appointment where you can keep your clearance, and so when you show up at your next post as an eligible family member, you don't have to await a renewed security clearance. Okay? And combined federal campaign. We are going to implement procedures in Charleston to allow retirees, annuitants through the through Charleston, through your Foreign Service Retirement Disability Fund annuity, to contribute to combined federal campaign. It's something that OPM allowed for civil service retirees, and we will be mimicking that on the Foreign Service side. So if we will have more news forthcoming in the annuitant newsletter that HRRAT sends out. We did, if folks hopefully won't be confused, we're not in OPM's system, we run our own system. We sort of mimic national security agencies who are not in that system. So these are our numbers. Pay help at state.gov, a number that toll-free number that rings in Charleston, and Employee Express or Annuitant Express for Foreign Service retirees. With that, I will let Sonja and you got one. I'll let Sonja and Ed go to the next slide.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonja Ricks. I've been the director of the Office of Retirement in the Human Resources Bureau at the Department of State for 1 year now. I feel very privileged to work with Edward Capers Jr. and the civil service staff that we have, who processes all of the retirement applications. As Jeff said, we also provide support for the annuitants who have retired under the Foreign Service system. We've really focused on customer service, and we've focused right now also on succession training, because we have a number of people who work on our staff who will soon be retiring. So I'm going to turn it over to Ed Capers, who's going to talk to you about the resources that are available. We do maintain a website that has a lot of information. As Jeff said, we on an annual basis send out an annuitant newsletter that's being put together right now as we speak, and will soon be sent out to all of the annuitants. It goes out every year, and it has valuable information. I encourage everyone to take a good look at the annuitant newsletter, and we're always available if there are questions. Ed?
Thank you, Sonja. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. I think a year ago we stopped mailing out the hard copy annual newsletters. All the previous directors keep saying that would be for the next director. Well, when Sonja arrived, she was that next director. So we don't do hard copy. We post it on RNet, which is accessible and easy to get to, and that's https://rnet.state.gov. And I'm going to recommend that if you save it in your favorites, you have to refresh it, because what happens is this site has a lot of cyber attacks, and State Department is constantly refreshing it. So when you save it in your favorites, you may click on it, it may not open, so you may have to refresh it from time to time. So that's going to be a problem. Why you say it doesn't work or it's not opening. But this site gets a lot of cyber attacks. You'll be amazed how many times the site's attacked. It has a wealth of information. The focus is annuitants, because you're outside the system. For active employees, they're inside, so they have the intranet, so we have the internet for those who are annuitants. It has a wealth of information. It provides who to contact in case of a death. Your family members will not know what to do, but if they have this site, it'll give them some guidance on who to call, where to go. And we're going to bring this up in a minute. I think someone's going to bring it up for me, where it has our phone number to our office. It has where to email to if you need help, HRSC at state.gov if you have questions or concerns, or you can dial the phone number that's on it that goes straight to our office, to our front desk. Direct contact. You don't speak to an automated system, push 1, push 2, push 3. An actual person will answer and transfer you to someone who can assist you. What we call that, you have a live person to talk to. And I think that's important, and as Sonja mentioned, customer service has been one of our top priorities, because we want people to feel because they're retired now, they are less. You serve your country, and just because you're retired does not mean you deserve less. You deserve the same amount of service that you had when you were active. So we try to instill that in all our employees and with our customer service training and reminders. You'll see on the site that has what it says, what's new. If anything, breaking news or anything important for annuitants or employees, we try to post it on what's new on the website. It has Ask RNet. You may have a question, you can type it in, and we provide you some answers. If it's not clear, you can always call our office. What I like about this site too is it has what they call re-employed annuitant program information. We don't manage it, we just post information on our website. The Human Resource Service Center in Charleston keeps the information for re-employed annuitants updated in case you want to come back to work. I say this to everybody, you really never retire. As long as you are healthy and you can get around, you may want to be active and work, so that's a good thing. Your expertise and knowledge may always be needed. We also have things that happen in life, such as divorce and former spouses. So information on that, what to do if you're going through a divorce, or if you're remarried. You may find the love of your life. So, so you may want to call our office so you can see what you need to do to make sure you have the proper coverage and benefits. And I'll ask them if they can bring the cell phone, which they have now, but there's a lot of information there for you to look at, to just read, especially with life changes. If you have a qualified life event, please call our office and we can guide you at what you may need to do. If you have any issues with taxes, we work closely with Mr. Mount's folks in CGFS in Charleston. We work closely together, constant issues to assist each other. It's a team effort, and we work closely. We thank Jeff for all those years of down there in Charleston. I could email him or call him to Jeff, I need your help. But now he's much closer, I can just walk upstairs now. So we thank him for that relationship, because it's important. Because like we said, we may authorize something, but Charleston has to pay it. So it's a coordination. And like Sonja says, it's all about accuracy, timeliness, and completeness. Those things are very important. And we always want to be accessible and available to our annuitants. We want you to know that you're hanging from the office director and deputy. We always want to be accessible and available. And if you feel or you believe you're not receiving what you should, please feel free to call us. That's why we're there. We won't out you and say, so-and-so called me and they said you're not doing your job. That's not what we're going to do. We'll use it as a learning experience, but we don't have to say your name. So I don't want you to feel like we'll put you out there like that. We don't do that. We think that we don't know what we don't know. But if something's not going right, and let us know, we can improve it. So you can help us by calling and saying, your ideas, your thoughts. We appreciate that. So that's my piece right now. I'm going to open the floor for because Mr. Mons has something. The question in the back.
I don't know if you cover, but by the way, I think you're doing a great job compared to what it was in the really old days. Do you provide us with the 1099-Rs? Because if you do, I would like to know why in other agencies of the government, they have already counted in how much people have contributed to their pensions, where we do it on the basis of some old letter that came in 2007 or whenever you retired. And sometimes our friendly tax people don't have a clue what we're talking about. And we would be ever so grateful if we could join the club of not having to do that.
So, great question. Actually, I got asked maybe in the first time 8 years ago that same question, and along with actually it was an initiative of again under Secretary Kennedy, and I believe it was 2013 we implemented that information on the 1099-Rs for all new annuitants going forward. Okay, the issue frankly was our inability to go back and calculate that percentage. Now, the letters are out there. If somebody doesn't have their letter, I perfectly understand that we could find the letter if it was issued pre-implementation, but since I think it was 2013 tax year going forward, we now include that information on the 1099-Rs.
That's still the same situation for state taxes. They can't be taken out for old timers.
Can't, you mean can? We
Well,
can withhold. We withhold.
I had to take my state taxes out separately. I retired way back. And I've asked you this before, and one year you said to me, yeah, we can take them out now. But when I called down there, they said, oh no, you've got to be a new retiree, just like you just said. So is that still the situation?
Well, there's two different things you're talking about right now. The first question was the contributions that you made either to...
No, that's hers. My state taxes.
Yeah, we've been taking state taxes out for years, for as long as I've had the job. What we don't do is we take out, in general, a flat rate. So we don't take out at the state tax withholding tables, and that is something that we want to change. But we can take, for anybody that has withholding, we can certainly take out state taxes and have been able to do so. So if somebody told you that, I apologize. We, by all means, after this, I can get your name and we can...
And you can do it online.
Yeah, you can certainly go into Annuitant Express and put in a state tax amount. It's what we don't do, and there's not a lot of different states have some different treat annuities, a little bit different than salary. But what we haven't implemented with, and OPM isn't ready to do it. We're in the OPM system, and that's one of the difficulties is to implement each state's rules into an annuity. We do it for salary. Into an annuity is a little harder, and that's been some of the issue. But no, we can take $200, $300, $350, whatever you would project that you're paying. We can certainly take that out of your annuity, and it'll be on your 1099-R if it's taken out.
I just want to follow up with the young lady in the back mentioned about the office previously. I arrived June of 2010, and office director was Patricia Nelson Nivalis. She was there. I accepted the job. She told me when I arrived the first day, she'll be leaving in less than 2 months. So I said, okay. She also has something for you to read. She handed me an OIG report from 2007, 2008. It was quite a startling report to read about the office and the deficiencies and the customer service. And I'd only been there a week. So I was like, no one mentioned this. But so from that point, we decided that we wanted to make a difference. The office, actually, we can make a difference. I think the business we're in is very personable. They're dealing with people's lives, their finances. So, and it's a time where they're transitioning from working something for 20, 30, 40 years. There's a lot of emotions involved. So I think what we do is extremely important. I think you should do it with care, with respect. I know Sonja supports that when she came on board. She talked about the very same things about respect, being able to help someone during this time, and always being available and accessible. You know, if you need an appointment or you need to talk to someone about something, we should be there to assist you. That's what we get paid for. So we have to remind everybody, you're not doing anybody favors. You are employed to perform a certain job, but at the same time, it's how you do it. I think, treat people with respect and care. That's the most important thing. And like I said, because you're retired, don't mean you're forgotten. We know you're out there. We know. So like I said, anytime you have an issue, please call us. Like we said, we always want to improve or find ways to be better. And that's why we work also on the mounts with the GFAC system. We have access to it. When our system was launched, it is a great system. We have access to it, with information up. Like I said, it's all about being a team effort to provide you the best service possible.
I just want to clarify in the annual retirement annuitant newsletter, whatever it's called, you send, if you have an email address on file, you send it to us via email. And then as a backstop, it's also available on the RNet because I didn't see it on that page.
We don't email it to anyone. We post it on RNet. Over a year ago, it stopped being mailed out. What we'll do is now, we do send a postcard. We mail a postcard. If you have your address updated in GFAX, we will pull those addresses and mail everyone a postcard saying it is posted, please go look on our net.
So if we wanted to see last year's, we could go to that RNet page?
Yes, ma'am.
posted.
It's on our net. The new newsletter from last year is on our net. A new one should post, I think, around November. Yes, around November, but I think the month mentioned that around November, once it clears all different offices and get the front office clearance, then it will post and the postcards will go out. And the reason being we stopped mailing out was very costly. To have the envelope stuffed, they had the it took $15,000 to $20,000 to do mail out. And you know, with the limitation on budgets and the constraints and the cuts, we had to find ways to still get information out to you, but a more cost-effective manner.
And that highlights the importance of keeping the Office of Retirement informed if your address changes. So anytime that you know that your mailing address is going to be changed, you need to inform our office so that we can make sure that your contact information is correct and up to date. I think in a recent newsletter that Paula put out, we had a short article in there about the importance of making sure that your family members know what to do in the event of a passing. And I think that is critical information because we've had a number of cases recently where we've had children call and advise us of the death of a parent, and they weren't really familiar with what their parent had been receiving or what the appropriate process was. So again, on the RNet page that Ed has referenced, there are specific instructions. If nothing else, I think you should make sure that your family members or whoever is designated to take care of your affairs is aware of that RNet website so that they can find the information that they need.
And the backdrop to that is please keep your beneficiary forms updated. If you had any changes in your life, you may not think about that, but you want to make sure your form's updated. And you may not have seen them in a while, I don't know if you checked those, but you may just want to update them in case you've had any changes in your life.
Question right here.
Could you please give us that RNet website again?
Go back on here.
She's gonna,
Here,
Read it
Oh,
all,
we'll read it,
please.
sure. H is in hotel, T is in tango, T is in tango, P is in papa, S is in Sierra, colon, backslash, backslash. R is in Romeo, N is in November, E as in echo, T as in tango, .state.gov.
Former military.
All our Marine Corps training just paid off.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, again, I'd just like to say I told my staff on Monday I had it going away. It's been a privilege of my professional lifetime to work and pay. It's the most important thing. Getting people paid, contributing to their ability to live. And so, by all means, it's been an extremely collaborative effort, and if you need something, please let us know. We will do everything in our power to get it done.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.